And for folks at home, we're already into the ban phase. 4 seconds remaining on this one as, well, I actually think we're going to be getting things figured out, so we might have oversold things there.
Back up a few
steps. Just a minute, hold on. Whoop, 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 whoop. We just went all the way back here. Got to go back in time. My hoverboard or something is, we're going to figure this out. But once we get things figured out on our end, folks, we will make sure to let you know. But let's get back into a little bit of analysis, John. That first map was pretty fun indeed. So, you know, for Cafe, I think that things really just ended up going towards that aggression that we saw from FaZe in the way that they were not scared to just push into SSG and take them for what they're worth. Luckily enough, folks, not going to take too long to get back into it. And wouldn't you know, we're going to have Thatcher and Habana removed on Coastline, on Clubhouse.
Maverick's in play once again, as you were talking about before, so we will be able to see him used quite proficiently here, especially again with the Thatcher ban in check. You're absolutely going to need him to be brought to the table here. Valkyrie, yeah, you guys know about that.
Just give me the Mira ban already, you basic people.
Move us on.
Oh my God, you guys got to get more creative. Did you not see the Finka bans? Like, do something, man. Come on. Oh, it's Goyo. Thank you.
Actually,
thank you, SSG. Let's go.
It's an interesting one, actually. A bit of a change up from what we're normally used to, and one that we don't see really that often at all, from my own personal recollection at least. So
you're completely right. He's got a very low ban percentage, but the thing about Goyo that we always have to highlight, he gets 2 shields. There's a reason that Ubi is looking into nerfing this character, because he is so strong on the defense. He gives you so many bastions to play around inside of your site, and it makes it to where the offense has to be very committed to clearing not only the utility that's defending the shield, but the shield itself. Big callback to the utility meta for a couple of you that have been watching your esports for a little while here inside of the Rainbow Six scene. Yeah, it's not fun. It's just not fun when you have to do that.
Not to mention like that 5 to 10 second time waste you have to deal with as well, with the incendiary being on the ground after you manage to take that out and just waiting for that one to clear. Obviously that's not a huge proponent, but inside of a very sort of clutch situation where you're quickly trying to clear that, I'd say you only have like 20 seconds left. It could be a very big make or break difference. So removing that operator from the pool entirely is actually a very good choice in my opinion from SSG to try to speed up that clearance. That was a large part of the issue for some times in the attacking rounds here, is just inability to quickly get rid of the setups and get themselves onto the sites. They're going to remove that factor entirely. Obviously it is a bit of a self-handicap, as they'll be starting out on the defensive side, but assumably with them going for the ban, they absolutely have a plan to play around.
I'm so happy that you said that, because that's exactly what I wanted to lean into, is that it is going to be a self-hamstring here for SSG, but that doesn't mean that they don't have strategy set up around this. Obviously this is going to be in their game plan, and they'll be going for the SSG roam. We've got Hot and Cold on Vigil, Bosco on mute. They'll be reinforcing everything upstairs, making sure to barricade the door for Billiards as well down low, and well, at least we'll see SSG stay true to their name.
Absolutely the case here, as they are going to commit themselves into that, and why not as well, considering the playstyle we got out of FaZe in the last round. We were talking about how SSG needed to try and find a way to dictate the state of play that was going on from their defensive side, and they were really unable to do that on Cafe Dostoyevsky. This is a map that they know the inside and outside of, however, so they should have no problem leveraging an aggressive strategy like this here, considering they're the ones who popularized it in the first place. Doesn't mean they're going to be able to popularize themselves into a victory, however, as we see Fultz going down to very low HP, trying to contest over towards Blue, only returning a sliver of that damage back onto Cyber as he loses about 20% of his overall HP.
Yeah, FaZe truly terrifying on these offensive sides thus far, and it seems like it's going to be no difference here when it comes to Clubhouse. When it comes to this top clear, you really need to flush them out towards another member of your offensive side, and that looks to be what FaZe is trying to commit to. Pengu and I were actually talking about clearing out the top floor of Clubhouse earlier, and I love the way you described it. More, not, well, the same thing as a flush, but a hammer and anvil. You have to have that hammer come through and push them into that anvil to make sure that these kills happen. You don't want them to waste all of that time and get away scot-free, and that's exactly what FaZe is doing in the moment. Already some serious damage done to Fultz, and Bosco done and dusted.
Cameraman very, very close. He sees that footstep on the ground, but what? Thrown out by Houghton from inside the window is going to catch Cameraman instead. The bait towards the window catches him hook, line, and sinker, and Cameraman is going to be upset about that one.
I did not see his health before that, but man, has he gotten away with so much. SSG will be able to at least take down Super, or rather Rampy here, but Hot and Cold trying to get back downstairs, and as I was talking about before, you do not want to let these roamers get back down into the basement and assist their teammates. They have to all die, John. You have to kill all of them, and that's exactly what FaZe has achieved. They're going to commit back to the drones now, as Souls will be opening up the box hatch here. Cyber going to hop out, might even make a dirt play here. That's exactly what I would assume, as he's moving his way over towards the soft panels as of right now. And the beauty of Maverick, he can just make himself a nice hole and walk on in.
Absolutely the case. They'll do that without too much of an issue here. Gonna start getting a little bit low on time, considering it's only a 3v2. This is absolutely workable for the FaZe roster here, especially as they move themselves in, already catching the position of Sky. So just have to figure out where Fultz is at, as he's going to be the lower HP player here. 30 seconds remaining, though, so going to need to try and commit themselves in towards a drone or two. They still have 6 of them, in fact. But no, Fultz is going to be allowed to just take the initial duel versus Cyber out right there, and he wins it despite the low HP. Charge is going in. Bullet does read into play, but a shotgun pump nearly takes him out, and he can't return the damage in kind. Another one downs him as well, so it falls only to Souls. SSG might very well hold on here, but no, Souls clutches it out instead. The big man from FaZe does it, and they get on the board first.
Oh, SSG, that's got to be head and hands there for them, as they were so very close to getting away with that round. The roam not really working out for them either. FaZe had literally every single avenue that they could possibly escape shut down. They have people over on secret stairs, people repelling the main stairs as well, and there's really nothing that SSG can really do to get out of that space. We even see Hot and Cold fully commit to running down main stairs, and he still gets bodied trying to escape the FaZe members.
Massive play from Souls player. We've seen it pick up the clutching potential for FaZe in the past as well. The semifinals back during the Sweden Major, during up against Damwon Kia, for instance. He was up against, I think, 4 1vx's over the course of that series, if I remember the stat correctly off the top of my head. So some really impressive stuff coming out from him, and he's going to add 1 more to his overall career tally with that round right there. Very well done from him as he shuts it all down in the favor of FaZe and puts them on the right foot forward for the attacking side. This is going to be very, very similar to Cafe Dostoevsky, where every single attacking round that FaZe can sneak off is a massive boost to their second half performance.
Absolutely the case, my friend. SSG have got to be getting these rounds, and well, it looks like we'll be having something interesting here. A site that's been changed up quite a bit when it comes to Clubhouse, and one that needed a desperate buff over its win rate. It's going to be bar, not stock anymore, stage. Bar stage here for SSG, a site that we seldom get to see, but one that is quite interesting. If you ask my personal opinion, I hate the site, but that's mostly because of just how many times I've seen things go wrong in the past. With this changeup, I don't really think that we have the largest sample size from Squad, so honestly, very happy that SSG has done this. I want to see what FaZe was able to commit to this actual space. This is going to be a lot going into this top floor here for SSG to make sure that FaZe can't work this verticality because of how important it is to the overall strategy inside of this area.
Now, inside of North America, we don't see this site come out very often at all, as you were mentioning before, but obviously inside of other regions, specifically Europe, we've been seeing it played quite a bit, so it's not like it's going to catch FaZe off guard here. Globally, this is something that has been coming into play over the past few months. It has become a bit more prominent now, so SSG probably going to be incorporating quite a bit from the international side of things to bring that strategy into play and use this site. Not a huge surprise overall here for the FaZe roster. We can see, though, once again, a bit of a split amount of utilities. They're going to try to hold it from the top down, spreading that utility out over here. We've got as well an interesting position being played out by Rampy all the way over to the inside of security, and as well a nice annoyance as they're going to throw out one of the clones from the Alibi just to get that nice annoying red text in front of the attacking players' faces for a few seconds here.
You always gotta love it when somebody trolls with the Alibi clones. It's always so funny. There's actually one on border that you can get up on top of one of the stacks that you actually can't shoot as an offensive member, which is just hilarious when it comes down to it. But either way, guys, we're waiting for FaZe to start trying to make their entry into the building. You can see SSG just simply waiting for FaZe to try and make any committed play. Some serious damage on the Bullet as he'll drop off. Take some damage from one of the SSG members over inside a strip.
See here, once again, FaZe biding their time now that we have seen that jump out happen from SSG. Also, an attempt to counter out some of the aggression that's been coming in from FaZe, but not going to lead to a whole lot here. Neither player able to really meet their mark, neither team rather, able to meet their mark inside of this first 2 minutes, but a near fight happening up on top there as we see 2 players, one from FaZe, one from SSG, nearly colliding with each other on top-down angles. In fact, the yellow ping going out, I believe it's going to be Fultz's position that will be revealed. Oh no! They don't even realize Fultz sitting right down below them there. They shoot back right at each other, and Cyber goes down. Additional presence is near the main stairs too, so FaZe isn't even out of the hothouse.
Oh my god!
Cold snipes Bullet out from inside of your strip, I believe. Is going to be able to take him down and bring it down to a 5v3. This is an amazing hold from SSG so far. FaZe do not know how to handle this. Souls with a great response though, locks into those tracers and immediately trades out onto Fultz.
Well, if somebody needs to get frags, Souls can, as he has 4 right now for the team, trying to fight back. Astro getting even more done, and what's on the other side of green box? Bosco, please wake up! up! Somebody shake the man! Get some cold water! Hot and cold, speaking of it, will take down Souls. It's a 2 versus 2. Still have that beeping outside, that annoyance for the FaZe members, but it's not getting inside of their head. Hot and cold's been down. The plant's going down as well, and Rampy does not have an answer. He needs this kill in the moment. Can he stop it from happening? He cannot, and he's on low HP as well. He'll be dusted by FaZe, and they'll pick up the bar round.
That was literally a second-to-second round there, as you saw how low the both rating FaZe players were as well. They had like maybe 15% health max between both of them there, so just barely able to squeak out the way. But what a recovery, especially with the push working its way into cash room there. The defense just not ready for the challenge, thinking they could hide behind the green box. To be fair, the player's POV we were watching from FaZe, I'm pretty sure he didn't know that second player was even there until he caught his like foot sitting behind it, wrapped it, and unfortunately, I believe it was Bosco gave him just enough time to scope back in, lock in on that target, and had his teammate take him out.
Sadly, that is one of those rounds where you just got to go, Bosco. You got to win those, man. You have the shotgun playing around green box. You should not be losing fights like that. But this goes back to what you and I were talking about previously on the last map. FaZe are committed to their game plan, and the last thing that they're going to do is not commit. They are fully committed to what is going on inside of these rounds, and you love to see it, especially as a LATAM enjoyer myself. I always love to watch these guys do their thing, and this is definitely going to be some of the similar things that we have been seeing. But the big thing as of right now is that SSG just simply can't get anything going. They're able to get the kills onto FaZe, but in these clutch moments, FaZe time and time again come through.
Absolutely the case, and we've seen that happen 2 rounds in a row now, both with the close 1v2 play coming out from Souls on the first basement hold, and now that crazy action you see in the dying seconds of this first floor hold back over inside of bar as well. So they're going to go back to the basement, see if they can try their luck here once again. It was incredibly close. If they can just clean things up, and they are going to fall back onto the turtle setup too here, so this is going to be a bit of a safer play overall. If they can keep those players alive into the dying seconds of the round, there's a very good chance they can sneak out their first round on the map here through that type of play. Cyber, could have some good timing on this nade if it's able to go deep enough in ADS. More likely going to eat it up though. No, it actually does go for the full explosion. But thankfully, the player from SSG is far away from it by the time it explodes.
Well, a calm 30 seconds initially, but that's actually quite funny if you do think about it, because Astro is already in the building, and not only that, he's dropping down into bar. FaZe, once again, committed to the game plan, clearing out the map, starting to work onto this mid-floor here as SSG is giving it all up, not going for the roam this time around as they just simply lost too many bodies the last time. FaZe knew exactly how to counteract what the game plan was. FaZe will begin breaking up hatches as well as flooring around. Astro still has his breaching rounds as well, so could establish some pretty dastardly angles working in towards Armory if he so chooses. They also have Cameraman on floor as well, so he'll be able to get into those hard-to-reach places that SSG are trying to hold on to. And an operator that we don't usually get to see come through, Mira, being played inside of this round out towards the church wall here, just trying to watch things out towards the actual main stairs, as well as Rampy looking in towards blue. But this is where Cameraman can step up to the plate and do some serious damage.
Yeah, could potentially be some serious utility and aggressive capability coming out from SSG because of those mirror windows existing, but as you were mentioning, those drones working their way in will have very easy capability to knock them out and remove that aggressive capability from SSG as well. For the time being, it is going to be an issue that will mean FaZe is going to have to respect it to a certain extent here to be able to avoid getting instantly peaked when they try to put presence downstairs.
Very smart.
Charge work its way in. That'll get eaten up though, unfortunately, and Bosco's going to be able to continue to rain out shots from behind this mirror window as we don't see the Ash charge work its way through successfully.
I don't know what Bullet has left in that lifeline either. I don't know if it's his concussion or it's his impact, but they desperately need one of these to be able to break up this wall, because as of right now, Hot and Cold can be an absolute menace against this offensive side. They're trying to look in towards Church, and luckily enough, it's a singular impact that he has remaining. So be able to destroy that and start working in towards this yet again. Hot and Cold now committed out towards the hallway. There's no verticality coming in onto him inside of the main hall, so he'll be able to stand inside of this space for the time being. That Vector being so terrible to fight against inside of close quarters. I'll have to see what he's able to get away with.
30 seconds remain here now as well, and immediately as FaZe start to transition downstairs, they're going to fall to pieces here. No capability to work their way into the site whatsoever. No pressure at all on the setup for their utility clear, and with that, a very, very clean round. The cleanest we've seen yet so far in this map is going to come out from SSG as they finally get themselves on the board.
That strategy right there is almost made for competing against FaZe. It's super difficult for them to actually do what they're good at, which is push into the site, get those big frags, and really try and take their gunfights. You can't gunfight a Mira. You just can't. If you try and step up against that Black Mirror, you're more than likely going to lose your life, and that's why FaZe was so committed to trying clearing that, or at least getting it to where if somebody did peek off the mirror, they at least see them. That's the biggest thing there. But obviously, SSG had the answer to FaZe trying to commit into Church through Moto as well as the bottom of main. Very well done by them.
So SSG choosing to not play into either of the top floor sites just as of yet here. Either are finally going to start to transition over towards it as they work their way into a CCTV and cash hold after they tried out that bar hole in the second round. Didn't really work out too well. Unfortunately, FaZe ended up just barely getting the better of them, say with the initial basement hold, but they've already corrected for the basement hold. Now it's back to the good old default upstairs here inside of cash and CCTV. You can see the exercise of control working its way out, specifically with the evil eyes to allow for extra intel to work its way in. Over on Catwalk, SSG will try to waste a lot of time here, more than likely keep Rampy or another one of their extended players in that position for as long as possible, being supported by the ADSs that have been put down by Rampy. Aside from that, we got the usual rotations coming out over towards red, and more than likely you can expect one or two players to mess around at least a bit with an extension into construction for the opening minute or so as well, to try and waste away that time.
Is Houghton putting his electro claws on the rafters? I do believe so, since they do have the mutes here, and yes, he will. That's exactly what I wanted to see out of them. Because when it comes to FaZe, we see how committed they are to certain areas of the map, and Garage just so happens to be of the utmost importance when it comes to this site. Once you get Garage control, the B-bomb site is practically free, especially if you have some hard breach to blow that right-hand panel. You can just walk right up to the shelves and start your plant there. You do not have to walk into a line of sight of any defensive member. They have to try and commit utility either through the wall or try and chuck it out past the door or something like that. It's not nearly as easy to actually get you off of the plant. But as you can see, they're using one Electro Claw for the close panels, actually rather the far panels, but not the close panels over here towards the Harry Potter of Garage. So they're going to be able to at least find some semblance of security in that basement space here for Garage. We'll have to see if FaZe can possibly get something done with that now popped.
FaZe going to continue to try and weigh their options now that they are starting to get some access points open up. Stokes mentioned that was closed doors on Garage are not going to be too much of an issue as they'll be left open for the taking, but they'll still need to get someone committed to the inside and actually be able to take out the player currently mounting that position. We're able to knock out some of the utility that was defending the balcony wall as well, so that'll be taken down without too much of an issue as well here with only about a minute and 15 seconds going for the round. Faults in the meanwhile here will catch the early duel versus Astro and take him out of the play. Once again, giving that opening tip-off to SSG.
That was truly terrifying from Astro. I don't really know what the overall game plan was for that one, but it seemed like he assumed that he could possibly just hop in and catch some SSG members off guard, but they were ready for it this time around, especially Foltz as he was holding on to that window. FaZe as of now trying to recommit to a game plan. They have Cameraman working his way in from downstairs, something that more than likely SSG will not be prepared for. Nobody's watching these cameras is more than likely a kill for Cyber, and it will be. He's got Garage control now, and this is starting to look quite easy here for FaZe as they already knocked out two members of SSG off not only the rafters, but the site. Bullets worked his way in. Souls is going to commit to the plant now in the corner, and they've got the soft breach to be able to hold on to this as well. Ramping now down low. Can he stop it from going on? He can indeed. He'll at least be able to shut down one member as he commits back up Cash.
Fultz, meanwhile, still trying to maintain his position in Cash, but unfortunately he's going to get outwitted by Bullet from the other side of his softball. Not enough intel going over to Fultz, and Bullet quickly cleans up Rampy as he catches his rotation up through red as well. A fast win from SSG on the basement hold. Possibly an even quicker one coming out from the FaZe roster there as they run over the setup on the inside of Cash and get themselves their third round in the half on the attacking side of Clubhouse as well.
Unfortunate for SSG on that one as they're able to get the initial pick, but past that, really nothing coming on to them. FaZe able to get away with a lot there, especially around that Garage space. I thought we'd see SSG more committed to holding on to that, but they were so unbelievably worried about what was going on around Breach that FaZe was just allowed to sneak into Garage and take the frag instead. Especially for Cyber of all people, he just simply crouch walks in, finds him on the second rafter, and is able to commit or secure that frag. So for FaZe, it's going to be 3 rounds on the offense now with SSG only able to muster 1 so far.
So with FaZe inching closer and closer towards victory. Important to remember, folks, if you only just recently joined us, FaZe currently have the 1-0 advantage inside of this matchup. You can see it on either side of the Rainbow Six logo at the top of the UI there. SSG will need to try and win both of the remaining maps between this one and our third decider as well if they'd like to come out on top of this and max out their points inside of the group. Meanwhile, for FaZe, they're looking to do the same, but they've already got an easy time here with one map in their pocket. Just need to claim this one, and so far on the warpath to do that as they lead 3-1 here. It is going to be the final site played out from SSG. They will once again make the full rotation of all 4 sites available on the map as they go over here towards gym and bedroom for their second to last defense inside of this first half.
And sadly, we won't see Frost. Anytime we go here, I always hope that we see
TSM.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of people that commit to Frost on this site just because of all of the window play. It's so very annoying knowing that you have to hop a window and either get shot or lose your ankles. You know, it's like, it's hard to walk when you don't have ankles.
Not to mention, it's like a 90-degree flick you have to make when you hop on the window, so if you have like an immediate gunfight following that, you're probably going to lose it just on the mouse movement. Okay, I don't even know where that one came from.
He shot him right through the construction window, just bodied him.
He had to have been through that probably breach over there towards the closet, but either way, nice shot from SSG. It's immediately going to deck bullet. He won't even get a chance to see the inside of the building, let alone fight for it.
I mean, technically speaking, he got baited by his teammate too and tried to break the window up top, and Han's like, oh, I'll send shots, and he shoots him right in the head. But I mean, that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes in Siege. Sometimes it's just wrong place, wrong time, and you end up losing your life. So bullet will happen to fall to that inside of this one, but that doesn't mean that FaZe still can't fight back. We've seen them constantly, especially inside of Clubhouse here, win inside of the clutch. So being down a man is not going to be too scary for them.
It is important to know that it is the Zofia that goes down, though. We've already seen during the round as another very nice counter comes out, this time from Cyber. There's so many of just these bombardments with the frag grenades coming in from below. We saw at least one from SSG in the previous map, and now we get another one from FaZe right here. But anyway, to get back to the point I was making, one of the problems that we've seen FaZe run into is a lack of soft breach utility to be able to clear out what the defense is bringing to the table here, and losing the Zofia before she can use either of her charges is not going to be a recipe for success here. FaZe runs into that problem in the last minute and a half of the round.
But you could say the same thing about SSG. Bosco's nowhere to be found. He's 0-5 right now, and not only that, inside of this round, he's playing Momai. That early pick does not bode well for him at all. His utility has dwindled already inside of this. He's not going to be able to put up nearly as many discs as he would if he was actually alive inside of this one. So unfortunate for SSG that they did end up losing that member, but they still have a lot of control over the bomb site in the current moment. Big issue right now is, does this nade land? Rampy's able to get the frag, and he moves past the other frag to keep his life. 50 HP still, so hold on to main, and this is looking like an SSG round.
SSG taking control of the player count yet again. Oh, no, catching a mid-reload. That's not the only kill they're going to find either. Cameraman with the crouch drop as he works his way in. Catches hot and cold there, but unfortunately is not going to have really any considerable map control to play off of here. He's got Logi, but no one in their right mind from SSG is going to try to challenge him on the inside of here. He's got to try and work his way out at some point in the next 25 seconds, and no matter where he goes, you can see it. He's got a duel against someone from SSG waiting for him when he goes for the swing.
Trying to commit towards main stairs, but this should be pretty easy pickings here. That M590 in close range is never going to lose that fight. Sky's able to bag and tag him, and that's going to be SSG's second round, and they desperately needed that one.
Absolutely the case. Once again, falling behind on this defensive half, just like we saw Cafe Dostoevsky, to be fair. So, don't count SSG out as of yet, even if they end up with, say, a 4-2 half, and we see a rebound from FaZe in this final round. As you've already seen once back on Cafe, SSG was nearly able to completely come back from a 1-5 deficit as well. So certainly a place to be made. We might see that happen once again here on Clubhouse for the second map also. This is a map that obviously SSG has a multitude of experience on over the years that they have been prominent on it, so certainly wouldn't put that past them to come back on the attacking side.
Yeah, most definitely. And here for FaZe, we're going to have a 6th pick for Astro and be moving away from the Ash and picking up the Ace instead, which you saw him manning quite often when it came to Cafe. No slouch with that AK-12, as it's a pretty scary sight when he starts to hit his mark. So we'll have to see what they can do with that here for round 6. SSG will go back downstairs, but we are not going to be seeing the roam strategy again. And I mean, why would you? When we saw that in the first round, FaZe just simply walked away with the bag. There really wasn't anything SSG could do about it.
I think SSG has learned that contesting FaZe in the open outright with a large majority of their team is probably not the play, especially if they give FaZe enough time to analyze the setup. The kind of lone wolf mentality that we're seeing out of a couple players like Rampy and Fultz every once in a while is definitely leading to a lot more early round success, and more importantly, the early round picks that is allowing for SSG to control part of the player advantage towards the mid and late points of these rounds.
Most definitely here. We're going to have SSG going back to the old faithful, the strategy that got them their first round here inside of their defensive half that could possibly get them their third and tie things up against FaZe. Mira back in play for hot and cold, and the Black Mirrors back in the same spots that they were before. FaZe will be committing some early utility out towards dirt just to make SSG sweat a little bit, but more than likely no one even hearing that Selma charge go off. But as with any defensive round downstairs, it's always something that you have to worry about. Anyone charging up dirt could possibly take out your armory player, and that could lead to a pretty easy plant for FaZe.
See Bullet with a nice drone positioning here up on the rafters closer towards blue. He's going to try to see if he can suss out the position of the player sitting down at the bottom of that, and has a second drone available also. Won't feel the courage to go directly for the drop just as of yet. We'll check back in with him in about another minute or so and see if maybe he's going to try to push down blue stairs to contest against that, or might go for the oil drop as well if that drone continues to feed an intel that was sitting up on top. Rampy is going to get spotted by not just one, but two drones here, and he chooses to just ditch the position entirely because of the second one spotting him out. It's too risky. He has to assume that there's someone very close by, and he's correct to assume that, as you can see, Astro just a couple seconds behind his descent from the stairs, and that will thankfully save his life to head down there.
FaZe with yet another successful clear of the map here, but as we all know, this is not the strategy for SSG. They do not want to fight FaZe early here. They want to fight around their utility that they have on site and force FaZe to clear them off of these mirrors. Cyber will start breaking up the hatch here inside of stock with some extra info going out towards oil pit, so obviously they're going to be wanting to work this secret side. But what exactly is the commitment going to be? Well, we saw the Selma charge earlier on dirt, so SSG more than likely going to be having a player inside of that space. They'll take blue, try and shove someone towards dirt and get an armory plant, more than likely around Dummy's box if they can get it done, but we'll have to see once it comes down to it.
So much utility being dumped in right now. Rampy's going to actually be forced out into the open for a few seconds here. Nearly gets caught in the transition back in, but importantly, he wasted at least one Selma in the process. Looking like he's still going to end up losing himself in the shield, but actually I think it is blown up right before it's able to go off there, so very well played by the members of SSG as they once again fend off that play. Nice utility usage of their own here. 50 seconds remaining as well as they're once again going to try to stun this out, but Rampy still has the window to play off of, and unfortunately no counter to come back in. No obfuscation on the Windows sights either, so Rampy can see all this pressure boiling its way out blue right now, and is more than likely going to have no problem stopping it. As you said before, on the very same attack here, you cannot directly contest that mirror window. Almost every single time the player on the clear side of it is going to win that fight. In addition, they're going to win the dirt fight too, as Fultz finds a pick there. Bosco now coming into shape as he fends off part of the blue push. Rampy's more than ready to stop this play from blue stairs also, as we're going to see the push come in, and there we go. Fultz actually picks that one up very quickly against Cyber, leaving just Souls and Bullet in the clutch here. Yeah,
this is FaZe's kryptonite. There's no way that they win this. SSG just played their utility so strongly inside of this, especially for hot and cold. He had the answer to the Selma charge that they desperately needed. If that's the last Selma charge goes off, this is a completely different round. But that Nitro Cell removing that Selma charge and making it to where Rampy can just stay committed to that space around Dummy's box makes it to where this goes off flawlessly. You can still have your player inside of dirt. No one's really sweating as to their position for SSG. So it's just very well done from them, and that's actually going to lead to a 3-3 half, which, I mean, if you really got into the nitty-gritty of all of these rounds, you would assume FaZe would be a lot farther ahead.
Yeah, absolutely the case, and I'd actually argue they're partially behind now as a result of the way that the half ended up playing out. I want to hold my breath on that statement for like a round or two of this first half here, or the second half rather, as we work our way into it, just because we don't know if FaZe is going to also struggle with their defense like they did back on Cafe Dostoevsky. Not really able to tell us if that was due to the prominence of SSG's own attacking strategy on Cafe, or FaZe was just looking a little bit weak there like SSG was as well. So let's see how this first round or two goes, because FaZe could still very easily bounce back if they were able to bring a very solid defense to the table, as we saw in those last couple rounds from SSG.
We'll have to see exactly what they can do. The biggest thing right now is that what do they do without Goyo? A lot of teams are so used to having that operator in their lineup, and now FaZe are going to have to call an audible every single time that they go to a site where they would normally have him. Luckily enough, Bar is more than likely not one that you would have Goyo, just because of the way that you're forced to play it, especially with this top hold going on from FaZe. But when it comes to CCTV and things like the basement or, you know, gym bedroom, that's definitely a site where you're going to see Goyo just because of the access to those two shields. So unfortunate that FaZe will not have this, but that leads to straining them just a bit to see if they can possibly bleed on this defensive half.
We'll see if that's going to be the case. We got SSG spawning out right now, and they're going to bring a very familiar lineup to the table as well. usual composition of soft and hard breach operators. And that's pretty much it in terms of what they're going to be bringing to the table here. It's all focused on the utility clear. No trying to track down any lone stragglers that might be a little bit aggressive here from FaZe or anything of that nature.
Utility, 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 utility.
I mean, look at it.
Developers. SSG is just very, very committed to the hard breach, and I honestly completely agree with this when it comes to Clubhouse. An overabundance of hard breach on this map is not something to shake your head at, because there's so many things that can go wrong, especially, I mean, when you have Maverick, whenever Maverick's up, you might as well play the operator. You have a torch that counters out all utility on the defense,
Frags.
A great gun, and frag grenades. So what else could you possibly want? What do you want from me is basically what Ubi's saying with this kit. Just play Mav and go have a good time. At least that's what's going on for Bosco. Hopefully he's having a better time now that he's on the offensive side, because the defensive score line was definitely not there for him.
Well, we're going to see SSG slowly start to creep their way forward to begin clearing out the extended play on the second floor. As you can see, there's quite a bit of resistance going to be deployed into that, specifically in the form of a reinforcement between the security as well as Cash wall here. Bullet will sit on the other side of that one. Bosco, I believe, has been able to spot him out with a drone that was lurking its way around red. That's assuming there was a rotation towards red, but there's a good possibility that could have been left reinforced. Yeah, Fultz actually doesn't have the clear picture as of yet in terms of where Bullet is hiding. It's because he's jumped up on that table, but of course, it's changed now with the drone going directly inside and sacrificing itself to be able to get that intel. That's going to also draw the ire of Cyber to be able to move over here and support Bullet in the event he gets pushed relatively quickly, which oftentimes was the case for SSG in the previous maps. They want to make sure they can trade that out if things go awry here.
There's a soft panel on the back end here for Bullet, so if SSG is able to time this correctly, then they should go off without a hitch, but oh, Cyber's got the ace in the hole. He's waiting for that rotation to be made. Nitro cell out. It won't hit its mark, though, as SSG, they're standing on their timer and just waiting for FaZe to make a mistake. Fultz is transitioned down low here, and he'll be able to pick up souls inside of stage, as it looks like SSG instead just want to go for the site.
A first kill being found here with less than a minute remaining is going to put a lot of pressure on SSG to keep that type of presence up throughout the rest of the round. And so far, oh, they were failing to do it until a second ago when both Bosco and Rampy both pick up kills here. Cyber still maintaining a position inside of Bar, and you can see Hotton with the case, ready to plant it, but he's got no support to be able to do that. Cameraman counters out the upstairs hold from Rampy. They do have sight control and should have the capability to plant, but they just want to go for this kill outright, it looks like, as they hold so many angles against him. Time is starting to get a little bit low, so in the name of caution, Hot and Cold will finally have the security to put that down out. They realize the position of Cameraman, and this is where this becomes nigh impossible for him to clutch it back out here. Looking for the planter, but not going to be able to find it. Hot Cold is long gone, and so are most of the chances for Cameraman to clutch this out, unfortunately.
Yeah, truthfully, nothing he can do with this. This is more or less just FaZe trying to talk things out. Unless Cameraman can get some very serious picks, but SSG's positioning more than likely strong enough to be able to defend this, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Big round there for Bosco, is especially on the top of Cash stairs. His timing was impeccable. FaZe thinking that they just simply vacated the area, but obviously not. Bosco just waiting with open arms for anyone to try and make a rotate towards the top of Cash stairs. He catches FaZe off guard. SSG in the lead for the very first time in the series.
It does really seem like SSG has taken full control of this map, even coming off the previous half as well. Things have been looking very promising for them, and they are also able to just barely control the chaos here to be able to put themselves down into a 3v1 after the dust settles. Those great trades happening over Cash are a big proponent for how they were able to do that. You saw at least one member of FaZe getting a tad over aggressive, tries to go for the hop to the rotation towards red, and unfortunately pays the price as he walks directly in to a waiting member of SSG. That on top of a couple other pivotal kills is what let them into the site and let them line up that 1v3 to shut down the round. They take the lead, as Stokes said, for the very first time inside of this matchup here, and they're going to look to try and leverage that to control their first map as well.
FaZe committed, though. They're going to immediately send things downstairs, as they do not want to allow SSG to get too far ahead here and possibly take Clubhouse. FaZe is looking for this 2-0 as they'll start their setup around this space. Pretty straightforward when it comes down to it, but we won't see the mirror come out on their side. Instead, we'll be seeing a lot more denial utility, as well as just utility to try and slow down SSG for once they actually commit to the site with these Banshees.
10 seconds left.
Going to see them commit themselves more than likely towards your typical setup when it comes to the hold downstairs. I did catch one or two players roaming around on the second floor, so it might be an opportunity for them to try and commit towards a more extended play. And indeed, it's looking like Cameraman is going to be in that position. Popping down a couple of the mute jammers as well, so there will be a little bit of extended roam coming out from FaZe. To what degree, though, we have to wait and see here. Because once again, still plenty of time for this team to play around with their timer, as well as trying to waste it away from SSG, as they are just now starting to approach the building for the clear themselves.
Oh? I was very scared that Bullet got that audio cue on that
Yeah.
rappel, because, I mean, that's just some cracked player things when they hear an audio cue and they just start shooting through random walls and stuff like that. I would not put it past FaZe to do that in the slightest. I mean, honestly, if I heard the rappel, I probably would have just sent shots at the door and be like, I mean, maybe I hit him, you know what I mean? Like, why not? But either way, FaZe not going to do so. SSG working for this info early on here through the drone game. Bosco will be coming in through strip. Fultz already establishing control over garage, and SSG with a strong clear inside of the first minute, almost guaranteeing that the site is, or rather the rest of the map is clear minus the site. Ramping out with top control, looking deep into site as well, actually, as there's a hole downstairs inside of kitchen. The FaZe member staring back at him, hot and cold. Also with a secondary hard breach here on Capitao, and the para of all things. Usually see the LMG on him nowadays, but always gotta love some AR whenever you get to see it on Capitao. Arguably one of the best sounding rifles, at least in my opinion, as well in the game.
One of the loudest for sure. As we're going to see SSG continue to pop open everything they possibly can in terms of top-down clearance here to get them full visual access to the basement. Hopefully get lucky and catch one or two members of FaZe, but so far unsuccessful in that remark. It is still a full 5v5, not a single point of damage going on to any player, and we're just over halfway through the round. Okay, never mind. Now Rampy going to be the first to take a little bit of damage from himself, as he will go down to just a sliver of extra HP he has because he's on Sledge. He's going to be lost here, so he's going to be put in a very similar position to a lot of his teammates.
Oh, with the last minute remaining, obviously SSG have got to get in towards the actual site. A lot of this has been clearing the map as well as trying to get these angles established so that they can try and slow down FaZe on their rotations around this space. Speaking of rotations, Cyber's forced off of Blue, now over towards the actual hallway for Oil Pit. He'll walk back in on the timing, but only takes a little bit of damage. Now the concussion's coming through. Souls with a big pick onto Rampy as well. And Rampy, such a positive player when it comes to the entry capabilities today, but inside of this map, Fultz especially stepping up to the plate. Hot and cold gets dusted. Bosco now gone. Fultz has to do something here from this blue position.
SSG getting tripped up, I think, by those hot pings and hesitating, trying to wait for an opportunity where one of them might have swung and they would have been able to get a kill instead of trying to be proactive like this and wait for the counter swings to come in. However, I say that, Fultz and Skies with two big finds here. Souls quickly puts down any clutch attempt though. Skies now going to be left alone here in a 1v3, and Souls once again getting a multi-kill here at the end of the round to shut it down for his squad as they pick up a nice response, and once again we're going to be tied, I believe, at 4-4.
A little quad with the SMG-11, you know, no big deal. Insane stuff coming out there from Souls. Is the guy is the top frag right now for FaZe, and he's also their hard support. So, you know, we were talking earlier in our last game about Secretly and Na'Vi and how, you know, it's pretty bad when your hard support's the top of the game, but when you're tied at 4-4 and Souls is hitting shots like that, it's a little bit of a different story.
Absolutely the case here, but either way, it works out into FaZe's favor as they are able to come out on top of that round with a great response going into their favor. That will send them immediately up to the second floor hold, I do believe, is where we're going to go for them next, and we can see the stats in front of us too here. Souls indeed dominating the state of play at this point at 10-6, with some other teammates a little bit closer behind there. So let's get into it. It's going to be a CCTV and Casual coming up next for this team, trying to mess around with the bar play, far too open it seems, and abusable by SSG and their slow, methodical clear, especially heavy drone emphasis coming in for them. FaZe just could not maintain strong enough positions to be able to play into that, so going to go to one where they can lock themselves together a lot more tightly and hopefully be able to trade some of that action out if SSG puts the pressure in a similar position.
Yeah, it feels like it's Souls versus Fultz for lightweight, you know, champion of the world in the current moment. Both of them.
We had that last game too. It was like Cyber versus Hotton on map 1.
Yeah, right. It just seems like we're just constantly competing for belts in between.
Step up this game, boys.
There just so happens to be 4 other people standing besides them on both teams. I really don't know how these guys got here, but you know, I guess you need 5 people to play Rainbow Six, right? So either way, though, tied things up now for FaZe, so they'll be able to take a breath of fresh air here for at least a moment before hopping back into the fray. SSG once again let out of the gates as they'll be attacking CCTV here for the very first time.
Quick breaching charge, as there's not going to be any reinforcements on the garage panels, interestingly enough. FaZe is going to allow that to be open for the taking here, as SSG will be able to flood in towards it relatively quickly here. Gonna drone it out, obviously, as they don't want to just waltz right in and potentially walk into the setup from Souls specifically, but regardless, plenty of time to play into, and SSG already checking off that one check mark there by opening up the garage panels with relative ease. And now, unfortunately, going to have to, if they do it with the Maverick, at least got to take some extra time to open up the balcony wall just because it's been Swiss cheesed a bit. So more than likely going to have Skies or another hard breacher, Hot and Cold's the other one, potentially do that.
Yeah, always an aggravating thing to try and torch just because of the depth inside of the wall there, trying to get that torch to make sure it breaks things up. But as you were saying, it's a lot easier to simply just toss things out towards the wall and actually, well, I don't know exactly what's happening here. I believe they got the mute jammer, but there we go. They'll get it the second time around there. As they'll finally be able to clean up that mute jammer, but it just took a second from them. But as I was saying before, just simply torch the area where the mute jammer is, get rid of it, and then just have the thermite blow the wall instead. It's a lot cleaner way of doing that. And I mean, just look at the size of the breach. That's a big thing about thermite is he makes some massive holes when he is able to blow those up.
Selma lands a little bit short, I think, where they wanted it to land and open up a hole over towards garage. Oh, yeah, it's been mute jammed out also. So,
well,
swing and a miss there from Hot and Cold, but it's all good. He still has 2 more, so we can correct that at some later point. Plus, they also know it's jammed now too, so they should be able to fix that issue fairly quickly once they're able to get control for themselves. But that's a big issue right now is they don't have a whole lot of presence on the inside of garage to fend off Souls here, who's going to be able to continue maintaining this. And that opening, if they were able to make it, is a bit of a two-way window for him to play into as well. So they probably want to be a little bit cautious about opening that, at least in terms of the timing of when they might choose to do that.
Yeah, SSG already ended up clearing the mute jammer, so now they just have to toss the Selma on whenever they need to. I don't really know what the commitment there was from Souls, but I mean, hey, it is what it is. It's his decision, John, not ours. He chooses to go off the top rope and try and take a gunfight against 2 people, not us. We're paid to talk, he's paid to play. So Skies will obviously get free control over this space with that Selma charge down. This is going to make it super easy for Skies to walk in and get this plant that we were talking about before with CCTV. So I don't really know how this is going to go. FaZe has a lot of utility still to fend off SSG in the moment. Skies is going to commit to the plant, but he's going to die. I'm going to assume that Skies had a visual bug there and started taking some damage. That tends to happen sometimes with the smoke canisters, but that's more than likely the round here for SSG. Bolts has to commit up the stairwell, but now so many FaZe members falling. Somebody has got to get a hold of this case, though, as they're bearing down on the FaZe members. Bolt's the last one alive, and the damage, comes through. It's 0-0 now inside of the 1 versus 2. Rampy's been down. Hot and Cold still committed to the plant. Bolt will be able to at least clean up, not even the body. Finally, he'll be able to get it, but he's traded out by Bosco. What in the hell was that round? I don't really know what happened there, but hey, it is what it is.
That's one of the sloppiest rounds I have seen.
Somebody get the janitor, man.
Both teams, man. It's just like so many whiffs going on there. We'll move on from that relatively quickly. Just highlight the things we did see. Souls thinking it's like a WWE match, jumping off the top of the ropes. We had like either a visual bug or just a general misstep from Skies on the plant. Hot and Cold nearly making the same mistake. He has actually got very lucky on the timing that the smoke faded away, because that might have ended the round right there. I think that's what FaZe was counting on, but their timing was just a teeny bit off to allow that to happen. And thankfully, Hot and Cold with a quick reaction got him back on the plant before it actually hit 0 timer as well. Then we see like he can't even kill the body on the ground. Like, what was going on, man? Anyway, wipe that round from our memory. Let's move on as we're heading into round 10 here, and SSG is once again in control.
Yeah, I'm going to need Will Smith for this one. Somebody's got to flash me really quickly. I need to just erase round 9 from my memory, because, I mean, I was trying to stifle my laugh while you were talking as well, because I was just sitting there like, wow, Skies is really the most committed member of this team. Like, just literally dying as he's planning this thing. And he's like, this is fine. Room's on fire. This is fine. It's A-okay. But at least SSG is able to get away with the round in a certain capacity. But as you said, probably the messiest round you and I have casted today, and we honestly watched Navi get 3 rounds total. So
at least Navi just bowed down.
Yeah, they just let it happen.
Try to fight back in those situations.
I still cannot believe that Souls just sent it off the top of the rafters.
That's the one that's throwing me around. I was like, why? Either way, though, I think I was just trying to make an unpredictable play, or maybe he thought, once again, pressure was going to be coming in from the other direction. Maybe he thought, again, presence might have been coming in from the breach, but didn't realize they were coming from below him, so maybe he thought there was an off chance he was going to be safe. I don't know, there's like 4 different scenarios.
Man, I'm already
potentially done that. But
I'm already jet lagged, and now they're making my head hurt.
Like I said, I know we said we're going to move on. I know we're another minute into the round here.
Wow.
All good.
But wow.
Now we'll move on.
Either way.
Talking about what we're seeing here.
Round 10 now. Let's move on from this. We're done. We're done. Bosco is going to be moving over towards Jacuzzi. Should be torching this wall up very soon. The rest of SSG will be handling the plat side of things. They'll actually be able to get this wall pretty convincingly. I don't even think that there was a mute jammer on that, so pretty straightforward for them. Also, FaZe playing a pretty interesting setup around the bathroom space. We usually see one of those panels actually open to make it a little bit easier to play out for the balcony and actually have some aggressive options to try and fend off the offense. But obviously with that panel there, it's going to make it a little bit safer to play inside of the site, but could also lead to SSG having some safe haven to work in towards Armory. Big pickup here for SSG as well as we'll take down Cyber.
See once again here. Initial pick has already been found from SSG, so they are under no pressure whatsoever to continue to force the issue in terms of this attack here. They want to wait this one out now. FaZe will very much not have a choice. They have to do very much the same thing for themselves, but despite that, Cameraman trying to swing into this push and ultimately falling victim to a frag grenade that lurks its way in just as it's about to explode over towards Logi there. So a second player down from FaZe as well, because they keep trying to aggressively contest against that, giving themselves away. Obviously, again, they have to do something to fend off the push that's coming in through the breach, but no support on that fend. So once again, another easy kill picked up from SSG, and so far leading the charge here to 5v3.
I'm really surprised that Souls is still alive with the amount of utility that's been committed towards him inside of the bathroom. Plenty of frag grenades as well as a Selma going down to establish an angle through that space now. And well, Souls now going to lose his life as he tries to swing out towards main stairs, trying to catch SSG off guard with something, but it seems like SSG is ready for FaZe's aggression this time around. It's a flawless round from them thus far. Bosco, the only member that's taken any damage.
FaZe really starting to kind of lose their luster when it comes to the capability of fighting between. It seems like SSG may have finally gotten FaZe's numbers. These last few rounds have gone handily into their favor here and starting to take some serious control here. Bullet, the only one remaining. Shouldn't be much stopping the SSG members from going for a plant, okay, except for that. This Bullet's just going to get a freebie, dropping right down in front of him. Just a gift from the heavens. Skies will now go for what should be a clean plant. Like I said before, not really much Bullet can do even with the angle he currently holds, and not even really going to be able to traverse the stairs from the looks of things either. A two-player hold here. Even if he gets the first one, the second one up on top is going to be waiting for him. So this is a tough ask indeed for Bullet in a 1v4.
Yeah, there's really not a road that he's going to take that leads him to victory here unless he can get every single isolated 1v1. But you can already see SSG stacking things around main stairs here as well. And there's going to be an awkward fight here for Bullet. Bosco's going to get info off of the barbed wire up the staircase as well. And with very minimal time remaining, you can see Bullet not too committed to the cause inside of this moment. And that's the beauty of Prone inside of Siege, folks. Abuse that thing as much as possible. You will catch people off guard time and time again. You're basically a human welcome mat. That's really what it is. And with that being said, an SSG up 2 rounds, FaZe is going to take a timeout. And I believe Rampy said, "Oh my god, I am so good." I'm pretty sure that's exactly what he said. So SSG...
I feel like that was in the song almost.
Was it?
I don't know.
Was it? I mean, it might have been. Either way,
it sounded like it had like an echo on it. Or
I think that we're actually getting them piped into the feed as well. I
think you're right. Yeah, I just couldn't tell which one that was coming from. But either way, SSG have good reason to be hyped up right now, as they, like I said before, really have started to take control of this map specifically here. FaZe really losing all of what they were bringing to the table before, as every single opening kill seems to be going the way of SSG, and they're not having too much of an issue following that through into a closeout. Even with the kind of sloppy nature when we had 2 rounds back, it was still, for the most part, in the control of SSG during all of it there, despite FaZe's attempts to bring it back.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, for me, I mean, SSG's making me pretty happy to cast a best of 3 and go the full breadth of this, even though it is late and you and I are both jet lagged. I'm a little tired, but I'm excited to do this, man. This is what I wanted to see out of SSG on the first map. That's what I thought we were going to get on Cafe, but obviously not the case. It had to happen on Clubhouse instead.
So, tactical pause should be expiring any moment here as FaZe are continuing to talk through what is going wrong. You can see their coach giving plenty of input. He's going to use the full breadth of that time to be able to do it, but time has now expired, so his mic more likely going to be muted in a second or two here, and we will head, yeah, there you go, we'll head back into the game to see if FaZe can rebound. A second attempt at overtime, but this time it's FaZe chasing it, no longer SSG. If not, both teams will take their respective map picks, and we will go to the final one to see where exactly this series will end up in the hands of.
We are headed back downstairs for FaZe, as we're not going to see too much of a change up in strategy. Cyber back onto the Vigil for this one. Don't see FaZe getting away with too much if they do try to commit to something like a roam. We'll have to see exactly what they want to do, but obviously, as we talked about previously, and most of you know, this is the bread and butter strategy of SSG, and when you make the strategy, you should more than likely know how to counter the strategy. So we'll see if that holds true, or if SSG will be taken by their own creation here inside of this one.
It's a little bit bold for FaZe to be going for this, considering the kind of early control that SSG's been able to leverage over some of these early movements from FaZe. Going to need to make sure, once again, that a solid network is set up to trade in the event that, once again, FaZe try to take an opening duel and they get run over, because to some extent that is happening now, as we saw in the last round there. SSG having no trouble clearing out some of the early extended presence and leaving the site very, very vulnerable, only about a minute or two into the round, making it a very leisurely final minute for the SSG crew to take control of themselves here. We'll see what exactly SSG is going to lean their initial push towards here now, as well as obviously they're out on the board and look like they're going to put some initial pressure over here, over towards security side.
Well, the good news at the end of the day is that oxygen is not alone for North America. That's the big thing. I think a lot of us were sweating when it came to Cafe and just going, I mean, SSG, you guys got to do something. It's been a couple years since something happened at LAN. We need you to actually come back to life here. And finally, we're getting something. They're looking to take a map off of our recent major champions and the likes of FaZe. So we're beginning to break up this top floor. Skies will deal with the panels over on Jacuzzi, whereas we don't have too much of a presence from SSG over towards the east side just yet. Or actually we do, just could not see it in the initial camera.
We're going to see a bit of a slow clear going on here. Fultz as well, having to take a moment to be able to take the goo mine out. It seems Astro got the intel from that and is able to lean in just when he's trying to take the pin out of his leg, picking up that opening kill. Some damage, as you guys probably caught there, was traded on to Cyber, but unfortunately not able to get the full kill. He's allowed to fall back and is probably going to take up position in the base, but I'd imagine Cameraman will do the same thing as he's lost the large majority of his life now.
A huge difference in between SSG's roam and FaZe's. FaZe, yes, they take a lot of damage, but they're alive. That's what's important. And past
everyone's
that,
alive.
Yes, everybody's alive, and they took out the most important, influential fragger on the offense. Fultz is gone. He's 12-7-3 right now, and just to remind you, he was one of the sole proprietors of Cafe as well, alongside Hot and Cold. So they really, really need him to be up and about, but obviously they won't have him for the rest of this one.
Rappido with a good minute now to clear things out on the top down is going to waste no time slamming open every opportunity he can here with this hammer in check. Fortunately, like I said, going to have to do it with a player down as Fultz will no longer be able to assist. That's also going to remove pretty much every single bit of ranged utility clear they would have had through soft breach. They're going to have to try and use something else. Might be able to take out some of it with things like Selma's, but it is going to be quite limited. You have frags though, and that'll do the job as well. Obviously, would have liked to save those to use on players, but given that we only have 40 seconds left, might not be an opportunity for that, especially with Cyber continuing to wipe out the rest of this team. That Sky's now knocked out as well. Hot and Cold begins the process of trading these kills back out, though, as he finds one against Bullet, and is going to remove the Malusi from the defense.
It's truly insanity. Cyber recommitting up secret stairs, and he's able to get Skies because of it. SSG's simply not thinking anything's going to happen, and Kool-Aid Wall being abused now from SSG. Rampy's going to start the plant. Do they have any read on this at all? Cyber will be able to shut it down, and now they have case control. SSG doesn't have an answer for this, and FaZe is going to be able to get the round. There's literally nothing SSG can do here as long as FaZe stays alive. FaZe able to get it within one here as they're looking to go to overtime.
Second map in a row now, going to go all the way to the end of regulation. 12 full rounds to decide it. These two teams are certainly evenly matched in that respect here, as we've gone the full distance on both of their picks here now. I can't wait to see if we make it to a third map, how that one is going to pan out as well. But it's up to SSG at this point. They need to either end it here or take it to overtime, as that's what FaZe's goal is going to be at this point, with a great hold from them. Problem for FaZe is they've also got to move away from that basement hold and find success elsewhere on the map, where they have struggled to do that a little bit here so far. They're going to head upstairs into CCTV and cache, and we'll have to wait and see if they'll find their luck there, and they're going to bring a very, very annoying operator potentially into the fold to maybe accomplish that. You guys probably already see the symbol for yourself. It's not getting... Oh, it is getting 6-pick.
Yeah, I figured that that's exactly what we're going to see. Oh, Bullet, you dirty, dirty man. That's not even nice. That's just not nice to do to somebody. They 6-pick away from the clash and pick Wamai. Now, the big thing here is if you guys noticed it, SSG 6-picked over to Capitao. The reason being, that's another counter to clash. What I was going to point out, if that went through in the lineups that we had, is that they only had one answer to that, and that would be Fultz having to stay alive and use his concussions to get around the clash. So SSG were forced into that 6-pick, but now FaZe have the answer for that utility. This is a huge game changer for FaZe on the CCTV defense.
Yep, they can just eat up those darts with the magnets that'll be thrown out by Wamai. demise, so a great mental counter coming in there on the 6-pick FaZe. But to be fair, we like very rarely see those types of like mind games nowadays. There's a really good stuff coming in from FaZe to kind of force the hand of SSG into something that is actually going to give FaZe quite a heavy advantage in the utility department when the XQ starts to come through.
Yeah, I'm loving it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, you know. But
but production's going to talk to us about our like brand and corporations.
Dude, just sponsor.
Giving out like 3 free sponsors.
I mean, as long as you give me like free sweet tea for life, we're good to go. You know, that's really what I'm committed to. Either way, though, SSG back out and onto the board here. And speaking of Bolts, he's going to be the first one that we're going to be looking into here, as he's going to be going down his checklist and what we'd seen him do previously. Claymore on secret window, and now drones inside of the actual garage space to see exactly what FaZe has going on.
Swiss cheese again, so it is going to take a couple seconds to get this one open. Looking like they're just going to go for the simplistic method of taking care of the mute jammer, though, and then quickly popping it open here with the thermite charge. They've already got access to the mute jammer, and there you go. It's a 1-2-step process. Oh, okay. Yeah, the impact. I thought we went a little far away from it, so I lost the audio cue. I thought it might have gotten it for a second, but no, the impact falls a little bit too short there, and we are going to see the breach work.
Yeah, that was really close there by Bullet. That was like MOP level if he was able to sneak that in through the crack, but just short there, and SSG is allowed to get that panel open as well. Sky's popping construction as well. Now, with this makes this super awkward for FaZe, because you don't know what SSG are going to commit to. If things aren't working too well on Plat, they can simply leave someone over there, and now FaZe are just going to simply think, okay, well, they're still over here, so we have to hold on to this, and SSG try to push in through construction where they can get some serious frags. For some odd reason, there's no discs around this space, or SSG was able to burn it out. Not really sure, but the fire and flames coming through on rafters, no bag souls because of it.
The good news is the distraction of Garage has allowed for FaZe to rotate some players back over towards the side. I was getting really worried for that because we had like 2 to 3 players stacked over on the other side of construction closer to the bedroom there. And once again, you had that opening on the construction wall, so they would have had to be very cautious working their way back through that. Thankfully, again, the distraction, unfortunately, the cost of the death of souls, but the distraction has allowed for them to rotate back into some better positions here. And definitely want to keep an eye on that Malusi down below there for Astro. He's going to try to surprise this team. And okay, that was an impact, I'm pretty sure, that comes out against Skies. Nearly takes him out. Thankfully, it's a very quick revive, bring him back into play, but there's another impact available. You might be able to pull off the same thing here. Rampy, though,
no way.
Gonna try to take care of some of this utility. And yep, I was talking about it before. Here comes the Malusi. She walks right up. It's a bit of a risky fight at range, but he gets the job done. And on top of that as well, he is going to get countered back over here at the garage door by Hutton, and that puts it into a 2v2, but it's allowed for Bullet to waltz right out onto garage. Bolt seemingly had the counter, but no, he can't get the shots going against him, and now he's giving himself away. 30 seconds still to play out here as well, and no case control for him either. This is awful for SSG, and they're more than likely heading to overtime unless we can see a massive clutch come out from Fultz.
Fultz has to get something done. Luckily enough, he's got a lot of bullets inside of this magazine, but not with Bullet bearing down on him. John, you never see somebody get countered from climbing up the ladder in Garage.
If there was ever a time to do it, though. If there was ever a time to do it, 12th round.
Do it when
you think you got the team on lock, you think you got this team. It's like SSG's thinking to themselves as they close in on that site. Guys, they aren't going to try anything. They are scared. They are scared to even move right now. Little do they know, someone was working a plan the entire time that they were losing player count over there in Garage.
I got so much angst from that, I had to take a knee at the desk. That's what happened inside of that round. It was just...
And the fact that it's 3 kills.
Like,
the fact they just line right up for him. The stars align for Astro.
Actually, legitimately aligned for him as he just takes out 3 SSG bodies. That round was not FaZe's at all. I'm just gonna say that as bluntly as I possibly can. That was not FaZe's round, but they're able to just simply steal it away from SSG because of an oversight. No Claymore, no nothing on that space inside of Oil Pit, because that's the last thing that you expect somebody to do inside of that moment.
Good news and bad news for the SSG fans at home. SSG does get the defensive start on the overtime for this map, but obviously, again, in case anyone at home is wondering, it's not unlimited overtime. We usually reserve that for the grand finals here, so we're just using the normal 3 format. What's going on here?
I think that FaZe have found what they want to try and get around these mirror windows with, and it just so happens to be a man that is quite large and has a shield that extends. So, also might be nicknamed the Mountain. I don't know, you might know him. So, we'll have to see what cameraman can get done with Monty here, as he is one of the top frags inside of the game right now, but if they play around him correctly, this can get so much done for them. Because look at the lineup for SSG. There's no trap operators, no nothing. The only person that is as a counter to this man in the moment is Skies. And if he commits those smokes early, that could be damning for them inside of the late round.
We have also seen FaZe bring this in previous series as well, in other tournaments where they use it kind of to speed things up a little bit, to force the issue in a couple areas on the map. And that may be what they're trying to do here, is they've also fallen victim on quite a few rounds, so just kind of running out of time, not being able to properly clear out utility. We saw that back on Cafe to some extent as well there. So hopefully going to be able to allow them to steal away that one attacking round that they would need to safely be able to get at least the second defensive round they'll have coming up after this as well. We'll see if that all works out for them, though, as they're already taking up some good positioning on the top of blue. And obviously SSG will have to be very cautious of that, as they have a player mounted on the other side of the AC unit down there.
And FaZe working quickly as well. I mean, just by their positioning, I thought we were about halfway through this round, but we still have a couple of moments inside of the 2-minute mark here before we even get down to it. Cyber's going to start working on the hatches. I assume the rest of the squad will, follow suit here as we begin breaking up the kitchen floor. Obviously, SSG committed to the cause downstairs. They really do not want to give anything up, as some gunfights go back and forth in between these torch lines, but no damage accepted by either side.
Not even one going off on a Bosco as he sneaks back through the doorway there. I thought for sure he might be able to shut off on the foot or something, but no, is not going to be the case here. As we see the smoke start to envelop the mirror window here. They want to try and hide this as they work their way down and finally get the hatch work starting to open up as well. Cyber's actually shifted himself over and is instead going to work on opening up the blue hatch to get them access there. Still over half the round to go. Like we said before, SSG playing into a very passive setup, so FaZe will be at no lack of time here. It's just about the strategy and how they eventually work their way in that is going to decide if this is a success or ultimately a failure. They can't put it back onto time, unfortunately, because SSG's not really doing anything to waste time at this point, except for the site utility that they would have inside of the basement hold itself.
Well, with camera in this position, this is telling SSG that this is more than likely going to be an armory take. But obviously, with all the FaZe members still up, there's a lot of different ways that this could go. The concussion starting to mess up cameraman there a little bit. Also, the smoke's out as he's holding the rotation here on ramping. As long as that thing's deployed, there's only nothing that they can do. And this is exactly why Monty is so potent in certain positions. He's able to move up and make it to where Rampy really can't move. And now he's got a solid read over the entirety of the site. Cyberman's going to break the mirror as well, and they've distracted SSG outright.
See, Souls catches that hole in the wall, but he can't get the appropriate angle to catch out the player on the other side of it, so Fultz is allowed to use it and take down Cyber here. Bullet incredibly low, and now Astro caught as well. What a turnaround coming in from SSG. They're going to shut down this entire hit. There goes the Monty. Souls is the only one that's left. He's got a 1v4 and only 15 seconds to clutch it out here, so SSG remaining stalwart in their positions, not giving away an inch here. Souls is going to try his best to fight for it, but he's only going to get one kill, and SSG controls the first round of overtime.
It comes down to the gunfights, and this just happens to be one of the rounds where FaZe is not better. SSG able to get it done, even though early on inside of that one, it looked like the Monty was going to be able to assist them in taking control of Armory. But once it came down to the other members of FaZe, they weren't able to muster much. SSG taking down a lot of people, but I mean, let's be honest, it was Fultz with that triple. It was beautifully done. FaZe now down yet again here in overtime.
It was working too. We saw the Monty and the pressure against the mirror window over by Blue, got them access to the site, overwhelmed the player that was playing behind the mirror window, but we saw them come to a complete stop because whoever was supporting the Montaigne's push, I believe was Bullet at the time there, unfortunately got to very low HP, so he really couldn't afford to jump out into the open. A single stray bullet means he's going down on the ground. The nearest support was way down oil pit still, so they had to try and build up enough force to move in, but that gave SSG all the time they needed to counteract that push that had come in and get into positions to ultimately fend off the actual assault once it was ready to move in.
Yeah, the AK player inside of Armory was really the last nail in the coffin there for FaZe, is just time and time again. Fultz's number was called up and he was able to land his shots, but now SSG needed to do it yet again, but this time from the offensive side. FaZe will head back downstairs to a site that they were able to find quite a bit of success on as well.
See here as FaZe now need to give themselves a bit of a lifeline with their own basement hold coming up here. Have to try and close this one down if they still want to look for the 2-0 victory. To get the lion's share of points out of this matchup here. If not, SSG is going to be able to challenge for the outright win and take us to a third map. I believe once again it's going to be played over on Villa. And that'll be following this map immediately, ladies and gentlemen, to round out the day here on the Bravo stream for the SI group stage. Day 1 as well. Still 4 more days of our groups coming up.
Well, while we're in the opening of this round, I'll tell you guys a little something that should make a lot of Siege fans extremely excited. Guys, we currently have 106,000 people watching Rainbow Six Siege on twitch.tv. Overall for the, browser selection. So not just in this stream, but Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege overall, which is just beautiful. Really happy sight to see.
Cool deployable camera that's actually going to go up there as well. We just saw it go.
Did you put it on the jukebox?
Oh, the vents.
Oh, okay.
Jumped up on the table and was able to get it onto the vents up on towards the roof there. So that's actually gonna, that's like, yeah, you can see it. Look at it. That's like really tough to take out actually as an attacker.
I mean, the big thing to remember is that they can definitely get rid of it with like a frag or something like that, and it's going to be pretty easy to get rid of from like the
still, that might be in a position where like you don't expect to see it necessarily, and it might sneak in that extra intel. So. Cool stuff coming out from FaZe.
And that ADS, it's going to be able to catch some things as well. That's what you always got to look for. If you guys are not putting ADS's Oral My around your utility, then baby girl, what are you doing? You need to stack that up. You need to stop trolling my plat games, man. This is actually me yelling at you because you guys are all trolling my games.
This is going to be a great camera too because it potentially allows, if they lose a player early on in the round, to just like constantly keep watch for moto pushes and whatnot. So now you don't have to necessarily commit your blue player or someone else inside of church to be able to watch out for that and fend off any quick plays we might see SSG trying to make to get the control themselves. That's actually a really nice piece of utility in the event. FaZe, once again, lose out on the opening duel here and need someone to keep eyes on that while they still have to watch for areas like the blue push as well as dirt tunnel in the main stairs as well.
Well, hopefully he got rid of that nitro cell with that. The fragmentation is obviously random on those, so Rampy could get dusted here, depending on if that nitro cell made it through or not. But it's actually Fultz to do the dusting here as they'll clean up Cyber. Bullet still down here inside of Armory, so trying to contest these angles up towards the kitchen. But now SSG going into their last moments here as this last minute comes to light.
Rampy, unfortunately, going to eat a face full of an impact there. That's max damage, I think, from an impact going out against him. So if they're able to line up another one, could very well lead to his elimination, but survives for the time being. Souls needs to check his back, though, as he's going to have pressure coming out against him relatively soon. And, oh no, might end up getting stuck here. And oh, look at the time he's going to be able to waste. Works his way.
What is happening?
Steals another frag away against Skies as well. Your Souls wasting a massive amount of time. They cannot push until they take him down, but he does eventually go down because he's in an incredibly exposed position. And they got one more kill on top of that as well. Bullets and Dirt Tunnel, and meanwhile, Astro now the only one left alive. So some chaos for a moment there, but it seems like it's all going to lead itself to be into SSG's favor unless Astro comes out huge in these next 10 seconds. The frag lines up against him. He'll be crossed out. He did take down the player in Dirt Tunnel, so at least one confirmation there, but now the kit is down on the inside of Church, and it's going to be very, very tough to take out these last three players.
Well, for Astro, so much to do here inside of this round. It looks like it's SSG's, but that doesn't mean that Astro can't play spoils. Case down, prime position here. Be able to play this out from the hatch as well as the player inside of Moto. Astro committing to the plant. He'll be able to at least get one, and the good halves already coming through.
Give him a second, cameraman.
But yeah, you got to trust your teammate, cameraman. There's definitely some things that could be done, but as it hits 7, that's going to be all she wrote. SSG get dub house as they'll be able to get it over on FaZe.
So SSG come out on top, taking it all the way to overtime after finally taking a lead for themselves as well inside of regulation. They push up to 6 first, but are unable to leverage the initial win, thankfully rebounding quite nicely with the defensive advantage here in overtime. They tie us up at 1